Last week we spent some time looking at the story of Saul, the terrifying opponent and persecutor of the Christian faith before he himself met the risen Jesus and his life was changed. Many didn't trust in Saul's conversion for a good reason. They found it impossible to forgive him for what pain and suffering he had caused the followers of Jesus. Today we meet a modern hero of the faith, Corrie ten Boom, who is the perfect person to illustrate the depth and the complexity of our theme, believing the unbelievable and forgiving the unforgivable. The story of Corrie ten Boom has been told countless times throughout the years, yet even today it remains one of the most beloved stories of forgiveness that this world has ever known. During World War II, she and her family saved Jews from being sent off to concentration camps by hiding them in a secret room at the top of their home, the ground floor of which served as a watch repair shop. During the Second World War, the Ten Boom house became a refuge, what Corrie would later call a hiding place for fugitives and those hunted by the Nazis. By protecting these people, Casper and his daughters, Betsy and Corrie, risked their very lives. This non-violent resistance against the Nazi oppressors was the Ten Boom's way of living out their Christian faith. During 1943 and 1944, there were usually 5 or 6 people illegally living in the Ten Boom home, some of whom were Jews and other members of the Dutch underground. Additional refugees would stay with the Ten Booms for a few hours or even a few days until other safe houses could be arranged. Through these activities, the Ten Boom family and their many friends and their co-workers in the resistance saved the lives of an estimated 800 Jews and other refugees. But on February 28, 1944, the Ten Boom family was betrayed and the Nazis raided their home. That day, more than 30 people were arrested. Among them were Father Casper and Betsy and Corrie, the daughters who were living at home with him, as well as Corrie's brother Willem, their sister Nolly, and nephew Peter, who were also at the house that day. They were all taken to prison. Although the Nazis arrested everyone in the home and in the shop, they could not find who they were really after. Safely hidden behind a false wall in Corrie's bedroom were 2 Jewish men, 2 Jewish women, and 2 members of the Dutch underground. Although the house remained under guard, members of the local police resistance group were able, by cunning means, to liberate the refugees from that hiding place over the next 47 hours. The 4 Jews were taken to new safe houses, and 3 of them actually survived the war. 10 days after his arrest, Father Casper died in prison. Betsy and Corrie were transported to another camp and then to the notorious Ravensbrück concentration camp in Germany. Life at Ravensbrück was almost unbearable, but Betsy and Corrie spent their time sharing Jesus' love with their fellow prisoners, and many women became Christians in that terrible place because of Betsy and Corrie's witness to them. Now, unfortunately, Betsy died at Ravensbrück. She was only 59, but Corrie miraculously survived. In mid-May 1945, the Allies marched into Holland to the unspeakable joy of the Dutch people, and life resumed as normal as it could be after everything had been said and done. Despite the distractions of her work as it began again, Corrie was still restless, and she desperately missed her beloved Betsy. But now she began to remember Betsy's words, that they must tell others what they had learned. Thus began more than 3 decades of travel around the world as what Corrie would call herself a tramp for the Lord. She told people her story, a story of God's forgiveness of sins and of the need for people to forgive those who had harmed them. Healing was linked to forgiveness, Corrie insisted. Everybody had something to forgive, whether it was a neighbor who had turned him in to the Nazi authorities, or whether it was a vicious camp guard or a brutal soldier. Now, Corrie herself was put to the test in 1947 while speaking in a Munich church. At the close of the service, a balding man in a gray overcoat stepped forward to greet her. And Corrie froze. She knew this man well. He had been one of the most vicious guards at Ravensbrück, the one who had mocked the women prisoners as they showered. It came back with a rush, she wrote. The huge room with its harsh overhead lights, the pathetic pile of dresses and shoes in the center of the floor, and the shame of walking naked past this man. And now he was pushing his hand out to shake Corrie's. Let's listen to Corrie tell us what happened next.